regular meeting to order, and if he would, I'd like to ask Russ Cassidy to come up and say the invocation.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together as a community to watch these men do the business of the county, and we ask that you be with them as they're making those decisions, and that your words, your actions, and your leading and teaching be the guiding force behind all that they do. And Father, just watch over our county and watch over our people, and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Judge Jones?
Present.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Here.
Commissioner Booth?
Here. We have a quorum and we are ready to proceed. I'd like to ask Pikeville City Commissioner Bob Shurtleff back there if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. He's a guest, and if he would like to come up and say a few words here tonight, he's more than welcome to do that.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bob, would you like to say a few words? You can have a seat here at the table, and one of the mics is not working particularly well, but that one right there should be. Welcome, and we had the mayor and Commissioner Powers at the last meeting, and it's good to have you here, and the members of the commission are always welcome, and we look forward to working with you to move the county and city forward. You have the floor.
I agree, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I wanted to come up and show my support for the court and learn more about what's going on and make sure that we do have a good partnership, and anything that we can do from the city's perspective or any perspective I'm part of, please let me know, reach out, whether it's individually or as a body, and we'll do everything we can.
We greatly appreciate that, and keep up the good work. Thank you. Next matter on the agenda is approval of the minutes from January 31st, 2019 and February 1st, 2019. And have the members of the court had an opportunity to review those minutes? Was there any corrections or errors that you saw in those for the commissioners? Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the January 31st, 2019 and February 1st, 2019 meetings of the Pike County Fiscal Court?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. We're going to move the agenda around just a little bit. We have another distinguished public official here tonight. I would like to ask Bryant Morris and his leadership team to come up and address the court. They've got an update to give, and gentlemen, welcome. Mr. Coleman, Mr. Fields, thank you all for coming tonight. And I had mentioned at the last court meeting the program that you have been that your office, Brian, has been diligently working with Paul Williamson and the court to put together that we think can save the taxpayers of this county literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. But at the last court meeting, we approved the jail budget for 2019, and I think that's already been sent to the Department of Local Government. Is that correct? Okay, so we've complied with their requirements. It's been sent. One thing I want to point out on behalf of the court and the people of the county is the fact that that budget will require over $300,000 less money on behalf of the county than it did the previous year. So what that really means is because of the way you have run the jail, the efficiencies that you've implemented, and the additional revenue that you've helped bring in, it will save alone, just that alone will save the taxpayers about $350,000. I want to thank you for that, because that will be a big help to us as we start this next budget process.
Thank you, Judge, but I would like to say, I want to thank the court. Last court meeting, I was scheduled on the budget, and I was absent because my first grandson was being born as the meeting was going on, and I appreciate y'all approving the budget, but I also want to say, over the last several months, I gotta thank this court. I mean, Reggie and Judge, we've met on several occasions and talked about the jail budget. We sit down, we worked it together. I want to thank the commissioners for being part of talking with me on the budget. And I can't say enough praises for Frankie Stacy. It's great knowing that I can call Frankie whenever I need to find out where my revenue is versus my expenditures. He probably gets tired of hearing from my office, but we talk probably weekly. I just think open communication between the jail and the fiscal court helps all parties. And I want to talk a little jail updates, what I'm here for. And I want to talk about the work release program a little bit. It's going full force right now. We actually have Robbie Vanover. He takes inmates out, and he mows grass and cuts grass at parks and county facilities. We got Keith Johnson and Ricky Thacker that does the same. So last week I received a couple of phone calls from residents. One was McCar Park, that we didn't get to it as quick as what they wanted us to, but we're working out them bugs right now. And it was actually scheduled the same day they called. So hopefully over the next month, we'll get our schedules down and we won't have any issues at all with parks and playgrounds on taking care of the facilities. You know, I just want people to understand that rain and bad weather comes, and when it rains, we can't get out, cut grass, that we'll have to think about later on in that week to get it worked in, but we will take care of the parks and playgrounds. We got 2 females, Crystal and Jennifer, that's scheduled to go out. Jennifer's been doing it for the past month, going to the restrooms at these parks and playgrounds and community centers and cleaning. She's scheduled to hit every center, every restroom at least once a week. And we've been on top of that. I haven't had any negative calls on that. And when I do, I'll reach out to Reggie or you, Judge, and let you know. But I'm not filtering anything negative, and we're working it pretty hard right now.
Yeah, I want to just mention, this past weekend, we had a meeting with the solid waste leadership team and all the drivers, loaders, and packer and mini packer drivers, the foreman, Mr. Morley and Ms. Clevenger, who are in management of solid waste, were here. We had the deputy judge here, and we had a very productive meeting. And there have been a lot of complaints over the years about customer service, and you know, you can't expect people to pay more or pay their bill when the service was bad. But I want to thank the jail staff particularly, because we had all the inmates come in that were working with solid waste, and the feedback that they gave was very valuable. And there have been some complaints, and some of the Facebook pundits are, you know, questioning why we use inmates. Well, first of all, if we had to replace the inmates with county employees, it would cost somewhere around $500,000, $450,000 to $500,000 a year by the time you pay payroll, health benefits, workers' comp benefits, all the fringe benefits, pension contribution. So the inmates are providing a valuable service not only for Public Works, but for the solid waste program, because it really, and we're trying to make it more efficient. And I appreciate you all having the inmates there. We appreciate everything you're doing. Just so the folks will understand, we're going to be using inmates to take care of all the grass cutting and weed mowing for every county property, cleaning the community centers, working at the fire departments. Brian, I'm sure I've left some stuff out. Why don't you just, I'm sure there's some other things that I've left out there, but.
You pretty much talked about it all. Like this time last year, the work lease program at the jail, you know, Rodney Scott started it back when he was jailer with the work lease program. I think it's a great program. And last year we had Robbie Vanover and Crystal. We actually had two people. Crystal was part-time, Robbie was going out. And we was using maybe 30 inmates inside the jail, the kitchen, and going out cutting grass. This morning, we actually got 6 crews and over 100 inmates is going out into the county or got work detail in the jail. And they're going to the parks, and they're on the back of solid waste. You mentioned it, and I talked with Mr. Morley before the court meeting. I really appreciated, you know, Chuck called over and asked us to incorporate the inmates during your meeting, and I thought that was spectacular. I mean, they need to feel like they're part of it because they're a big part of it. You know, and these are inmates, and I want to stress, are Class D inmates. Most of them's got 3-4 months, and they serve out. Now, none of these inmates has got a lot of time or committed any kind of major offense. It's just low felonies they're about to serve out. It lets them get out in the community, and it gets them used to working again, and it lets them get ready, prepared to go out and get a job when they get out. So Chuck incorporating them, I think, was huge, and Judge incorporating them, I think, was good.
Well, we appreciate it, and I think that's a valid point you brought up. These inmates are not a threat to the public. Most of them are low-level inmates, and hopefully this will help get their lives straightened out. It will be a valuable community service, and, you know, we can't thank you enough for working with us to implement this program.
It's been a pleasure working with this court for the last several months. I mean, I think the open communication has been outstanding. I feel like if I have a problem, I can call and you all work it out, and vice versa. You know, I mean, if y'all have problems, you can call and we work it out. That's how you build. That's how you move forward as a team working together.
And you know, one of the things, I think there's only one jail in Kentucky that is totally self-sustaining. Yeah. But you know, if you keep on the track that you're on, the Pike County Detention Center we may never get to where it's completely self-sustaining, but you know, when you can cut $350,000 off of the county's contribution from one year to the next, that is a tremendous savings for the taxpayer. You
know, I went back, and I'm proud of this. I'm proud of my staff. I mean, when I was running for office, I made the comment that not one person can run the jail. I mean, as we come in this morning, we have 396 inmates. This past month, we averaged, on the average, 382 inmates every day. We got a 346 bed facility, which is, that's overcrowded, but nowhere near like other county jails. I'm proud of the staff, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished over there. And one of the things that sticks out to me is back in, let me get the date, the 16-17 budget year, the transfer of money in from the court, which means the court gave the jail to offset, was $1.8 million, is what this fiscal court gave to the Pike County Detention Center. This year, the 19-20 budget, we're projected to about $980,000, which is almost in half. I'm proud of that number. And I don't sit here and say that I did it. It's the staff over there. I got two great captains.
I would just challenge you to try to cut it in half again.
Well, we're trying. We really are. I mean, we're working on every aspect. Last time I was here, we talked about increasing beds for West Care. West Care it's a substance abuse program that's inside the Pike County Detention Center. You know, April 1st, which was yesterday, we officially signed the contract. In the next 3 to 7 days, we're going to get 18 more, 14 female beds and 4 male beds, which is part of the Department of Corrections, which them are guaranteed beds. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that not only are we making good decisions on who we're putting in beds, who we're bringing into Pike County, we're also helping the drug addiction problem that this county's facing. And I'm proud of that. And that's already started.
Is there anything that we can do as a court to help you and your staff? Because, again, we want to be a team to move this county forward, and we're all, I think, all trying to move the county in the right direction.
Judge, everything is just going good. I mean, if we have issues, we call, we talk weekly. You tell me what's on your mind, and I try to help. I mean, I don't think it could get any better than the way it is right now. And we'll keep working on trying to reduce costs, because, I mean, I know that at the end of the day, we need to be sufficient, but we also need to watch every dime we spend.
I can't help but laugh.
I was
Mr.
wondering.
Fields he's been giving me a hard time lately.
Who has?
So, Mr. Fields, your captain. We've, it's just been a pleasure to work with your staff, and we really do appreciate it. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just a couple more things,
Yes.
and I'll hush. We got our garden up and running. We got peas in the ground. I know this is crazy, but we got peas in the ground. Cabbage is planted. They're coming up. We're doing green beans, corn, peppers, and lettuce. We've already got that going. I've reached out to Kelwell, which I think we'll be able to sell. We can't sell the produce back to Kelwell, but we can incorporate this produce into the jail, which would reduce the products coming in, which will save money on our food bill. And that's something we're working towards this year. And I think you'll see some this year, but next year I think you'll see a major decrease in our food bill. The litter abatement program's going well. I've got the numbers on it. I won't go into very much, but the month of February, there was $10,494.82 given back to the fiscal court through the litter abatement. The month of March, it was $12,490 given back to the fiscal court. That's for the inmates going out picking up trash on the side of the roads. We get reimbursed for the labor at the jail. You get reimbursed for supplies and also grant money coming in for that. That's a really good program. And I want to talk a little bit about the copiers. My contract was up at the jail, and I had several conversations with Frankie on it. And instead of buying new contracts, I thought just go ahead and maintain the contract with Toner Inclusive, the maintenance contract. And that's the way we did, but me and Tanya Fields was actually sitting down looking at the contract, and when we had people come in and give us quotes, this is something that we worked on for about 3 months, and during that process, we learned that our current copier company was calling in and getting reader numbers, and then they'd bill them numbers. And from 2016 to current, the numbers were incorrect. So in the next week or so, Frankie, you should be getting a check for $19,600 for reimbursements on fees that was charged towards our copiers.
That was a good catch, very, very good catch.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to mention is the litter abatement, because there are inmates out every day picking up trash, and we do get grant money for that. But it's really disgraceful that so many people have such disregard for the county that we live in, that we're raising our families in. This court is committed to cleaning this county up, our environment up, because I think, and you as a former deputy judge would understand this, and a business owner, it's hard to bring new businesses in as it is, but when people come here to look at our county and they see illegal dumps and trash everywhere, that is an eyesore, and it is a black mark, and I think it reflects very poorly against the people of our community. And I think we've cited over 30 plus people now for illegal dumping, and I'm going to be presenting a resolution or an amended solid waste ordinance and another proposed ordinance dealing with illegal dumping. I'm not sure if it's going to be incorporated yet, but I've actually instructed staff to see just how severe that we could, under our ordinance, could increase punishment for illegal dumping. I'm thinking something like $2,500 with the penalty being dedicated for litter abatement and illegal dump cleanup. We've had several guilty pleas already, but it's really, with all the other problems we have in the county with the opioid epidemic, meth, with the economy in the condition it's in, having to take county resources and employees jail inmates, correction staff to go out and try to clean our county up is really, the people should be ashamed of themselves who are doing this to our county.
The shame is, all they have to do is pick up a phone and call solid waste, and you'll send a truck to their house and pick it up.
Well, this past weekend, there was somebody dumped a load of building material out on the top of Ford Mountain. All they had to do was take it down to the landfill.
It just makes no sense. I don't understand. I didn't understand it when I was part of the court, and I don't understand it now. It's just so easy to call and get it picked up. But you know, you can educate and you can talk, and they seem to just keep doing it over and over again until you get someone on them and take them to court and prosecute them and make them accountable for their actions before.
Well, if our prosecutors and judges would put us a couple of them in jail for 30 days, that might open some people's eyes up. At some point, once we implement the new budget, if we can find the money to bring on another officer, I would like to at some point add another solid waste enforcement officer, because you know, I'm raising my family here. You're raising your family and your grandchild now.
Grandchild, yeah, I was going there.
And you know, everybody in this courtroom has an investment in this county. This is our home, and I think we owe it to future generations to make sure that the environment's cleaned up.
And Pike County is so big. I mean, you know, you can literally go to Woodman and go from Woodman to Marbone, and you're on the road, what, hour and 20 minutes? That's halfway to here to Lexington. And it takes resources, it takes people out there, it takes education, and I think you're on the right track.
We appreciate it. Do the commissioners have anything they'd like to?
I don't think I've got to say, just keep up the good work. And I enjoy working with you all about every day. I think I'm on the phone with one of you, and so just keep up the good work and
Appreciate
what's going on.
Appreciate it.
I just want to say the same thing, Brian. I know Jason and Dexter and you, the people probably don't realize how much you're saving this county, and we do not have the money, and you're a big asset to us, and we appreciate it.
Appreciate the help, I truly do.
Yeah, I think y'all do a good job. Jason talks quite a bit and stuff, and all that. I appreciate it.
It seems like Jason talks to a lot of people, and it seems like Jason cracks a lot of people up.
He does. We
Guys.
can't discuss some of that at the court meeting. So.
Guys, thank you all, and you know my number. If you need me, please call, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is I would like to ask Ms. Cindy May, who is Vice President of Marketing and Business Development of Bitsource, and Mr. Joel Thornberry of Karrimor Pharmacy, and also Mr. Mims. Are you coming up today? No. All right. Cindy and Joel, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity, and congratulations on the new business endeavor.
Thank you.
I guess what will be, I'm not sure the name of the new company.
Mountaintop Media.
Mountaintop Media. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Cindy, you and Joel have the floor, and would you, you're welcome to start your presentation.
Thanks so much. Many of you may have heard some of this before, but to give you a quick overview, Bitsource, a local software development company and digital services company, developed at the hackathon that MIT co-sponsored in Somerset about 4 years ago, the idea of Odie Save. And Judge, you mentioned the opioid epidemic a few minutes ago. Everyone is aware of how impacted our community is by opioids and by overdose deaths. And at this hackathon, which was set up in order to find technological answers to healthcare problems, our people came up with the idea of using technology to connect Narcan responders to people who might be overdosing on opioids. And I'll stop right here, because if you're not familiar with Narcan, that is Joel's area, and I'd love for him to just explain very briefly how that works.
Well, I'm really here as not only a resident of Pike County, but also a community servant. I own 2 facilities. I've raised my kids here, have watched this opioid epidemic continue to escalate, and pretty much going to tell you that it will never go away. We have to try to manage it in some way. I'm also on the State Pharmacists Association board. I was previously on the Board of Pharmacy here in the state, and my connections with those organizations have afforded me to gain access to, through grants and things like that they work with SAMHSA and the core grant, sort of free Narcan, so that we can, pharmacists now, with help from the previous, with the judge, can now educate and provide that to people on a one-to-one basis. But the issue with that is a lot of resources are required to either acquire that. You used to have a prescription, or it would have to be billed to your insurance. Through this core grant, through SAMHSA, we're able to provide that to residents, people that come in either Nova Pharmacy or Karrimor Pharmacy, and ask. The pharmacist there can provide them a 10 to 15 minute education, and they can leave with their own Narcan. Two doses used at the house. It is used to immediately reverse an opioid overdose. Can be administered safely if it's not an overdose without any issues. But we're trying to use this as one of the ways to manage this situation, because we understand that it's a situation that will be here for a while. So we're working with the government to try to put tools in the hands of our people and our residents that can hopefully help people, revive them, and so that we can get them into the proper channels of addiction recovery and those type of things.
So just to be clear, this is not just for prescription drugs, it's also for heroin and...
Yes, sir.
The app that has been developed, and let me say, I think that as we deal with economic development, I think we have to look at, first of all, growing local businesses like Bitsource, investing in local companies. And Bitsource has had a lot of recognition nationally, training former coal miners to do coding. And that's a very novel concept. It's training people from an industrial economy for a high-tech economy. Tell us a little bit more about the app, Cindy, because I think that's, I think it's a very, I think it has the potential to go national in terms of what it's intended to do and how easy it is to work.
Thank you. We do too. The way the app works, first of all, let me just say, for everybody in the room, in the courtroom today, everyone has a smartphone, right? Almost all of us, and we have them on us all the time. I did leave mine at my seat when I came up here. But other than that, it's on me all the time. And many of you, without even realizing it, use apps. I don't know if you're aware that you're using apps, but you probably are. And you can go, whether you have an Apple product or whether you have a Android, you can go to the Google Play Store or to the Apple App Store and download absolutely free Odie Save, and this is what it looks like. That's the logo, and as you can see, that is a shot of a phone with Odie Save on your phone. Doesn't cost a thing. When you download that, you can become a requester, and I'm going to explain that and explain how it works. The idea behind Odie Save is to give people an opportunity who think or who know that somebody near them is potentially having an overdose to immediately contact someone with Narcan to get there and potentially save their life. And Joel, you stop me if I overstate or state any of this wrong, but literally seconds matter in that case. In the event of an overdose, respiration is going to slow down until the person dies. And if you can't get the Narcan to them in time, the Narcan is ineffectual. Obviously, in our really large county that we just heard Brian Morris talking about, there are areas where if you call 911, nobody is going to get to you anytime soon. It may take 30 minutes, it may take 45 minutes or an hour, and that's if that responder is equipped with Narcan. It simply won't save the life. But our idea is that, especially since Narcan can be distributed free and we can get it in the hands of lots of people, is that if we connect them with this app, the way it would work, and let me just walk you through a scenario. Let's say we have somebody at the head of Marbone, and they know that this person has overdosed, or they think they might have overdosed. Can't wake them up, not answering. If they dial 911 and wait on the nearest ambulance to get there, it just very well might be too late. But we've talked to Doug Tackett. He's been so helpful, Pike County Emergency Services, in this idea of a way we could make Pike County the pilot program. There are 22, is that right, volunteer fire departments and rescue squads in Pike County. The way they're geographically positioned, we think if we could just have 2 people in every one of those who is a Narcan responder, they're carrying it with them all the time, they're already volunteers, they already want to help their community, and they have the app as a responder. That means that if Joe and Susie Public, who get in a bad situation and realize, oh my goodness, we might have an overdose going on here, they can hit their app, it's a simple tap, and it will say, do you want to report an overdose? If they say yes, it will immediately tell them to call 911. We don't want to supersede 911. They still need to call 911, and their phone will actually do it for them. But most importantly, at the very same time, using GPS technology, somebody in a certain mile range within that overdose area who is carrying Narcan will get an immediate notification, potential overdose. It will show them, just like your Google Maps do, a little pinpoint on the map, and they can get to that location potentially in seconds or minutes, depending on how far away they are. That still wouldn't stop an ambulance from coming, wouldn't stop 911 from being called, but it very well may save a life. And that's really what all this is about. It was constructed and conceived of with the idea to save lives, because we're losing people to this insidious epidemic that we shouldn't lose. Too many young people, too many good people who have potentially amazing futures to contribute to our community.
And I'm gonna basically clarify something. I have nothing to do with Bitsource. All I have is a public servant as a pharmacist in the community, basically access through my connections within the state and just networking around the country to realize these grants are out there, to bring this product back. We crossed paths through happenstance and began talking about this, and this is one of the ways that I feel one of the best ways locally to get, again, trying to manage a situation for family, for someone who is an addict, in those type of situations. So this Odie Save idea, Judge, I think you're correct. I think it's a wonderful idea. But we've got to also get him, that has to be accessible along with the product to provide the coverage.
Now, one of the things that concerns me, or may concern other people, that may not, I've looked into this just a little bit. If you think someone's overdosed,
yes,
but you're not sure, and you give them Narcan, and it turns out not to be an overdose,
it'll be almost like water.
It doesn't have any ill effect on it.
There's such a small percentage of an individual, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 1 millionth of a person that would have an issue with it because they have a certain condition that literally I could do it now and it wouldn't affect me as my day.
The benefit of administering Narcan in a suspected overdose situation is much greater than the potential risk if it's not an overdose.
Correct. My mother passed away July, a year and a half ago, of a brain aneurysm. First responders showed up. The first responders did because she was laying in the bed. First thing they did, they administered Narcan because they wanted to make sure that it wasn't an inadvertent overdose to a sleeping tablet or something like that. It had no ill effect on that. Almost every first responder that shows up to a situation where you have someone unconscious now will administer Narcan just to mark that off their list.
And the app is really, I don't know if they can pick this up on Pike TV, but it's really just the app that would Odie Save, and you click on that. And Cindy, tell us how it works from there, because I've seen it, but I can't really describe it.
Well, I'll do my best, and I would invite everyone to go ahead and download it. It's there, it's free, and it's available. And the whole way this is going to work, we have to have two audiences here. We have to have the responders, and again, we think we can work with Doug on that, and he will coordinate it, and we'll make sure there are always two in each geographic area associated with each volunteer fire department, and that's a minimum of 2. But we have to have the requesters, and that's the general public. And everybody should have this app. I keep it on my phone, and I will continue to keep it on my phone when we get this pilot project going. And here's why. I don't particularly have anyone living in my home right now that I think might overdose. But just like Joel's mother, if you have elderly people who might be taking pain pills or sleeping pills, it can happen accidentally. And we have so many people right now who are in recovery, and we all know that addiction is a disease of relapse. So if you're in recovery, there is a good chance you may relapse, and those people deserve to be saved. So what if I encounter one of them in the city park or by chance at my work? I'd love to know that in addition to calling 911, I can click, literally one click, and an alert will go out to somebody who has Narcan within, let's say, a 10-mile radius. That's pretty powerful. And it doesn't require any training to use it. Any one of you can pull it up and use it right now. It's very, very self-directed and user-friendly. It does require a little bit of training for those responders, which is why we want to work through emergency services and use these volunteer fire department people. So in terms of the walkthrough and how it works, it's as simple as using your smartphone to make a phone call. It's literally one click and then confirm. And then what would come up on the screen that you would see is someone has been notified, someone's on the way. There's even an opportunity for the responders to message back and forth. Although what we would hope is that the person who has requested, first of all, that somebody is close enough that they're there very quickly. And then secondly, that they're also calling 911. But they walk through all of that.
Now, one of the issues that I just wanted to, was there a grant to get some Narcan for some of the local first responders? Is that?
The answer to that question is yes. And basically, I am also here tonight to have a conversation with someone that's leading the Safety Commission here within the county to give them a direction to access to that through that's been through drug control, that's being run through the State Pharmacy Association.
Well, you have, before tonight, Joel, if you could speak to Doug Tackett, who's our Emergency Management Director behind you.
Sure.
That would be the person to talk to, because he's tied into all the fire departments. He's got, the EMS, because it is important that we get Narcan in the hands of people who are trained to use it, because the thing you want to make sure you do is get it to somebody as quick as they can before they go into cardiac arrest or stop. When that happens, it's a much different situation. But how long does it take Narcan? How long is it once it's administered before it's effective?
Oh, it's all instantaneous. I mean, it's not instantaneous, but it'll be within a few seconds. And normally, if you go in within a minute or two, and after the first dose you see no response, each box comes with 2 doses. You can administer the second one, and at that point, hopefully, again, 911 is always the first step. Hopefully some support personnel are on their way at that point, but you'll determine if it is an opioid-related overdose to that point.
If they respond, it's pretty quick.
Yes.
Assuming, but correct me if I'm wrong, you have to administer it before respiration stops.
No. You can have stopped respiration, because sometimes you'll come upon somebody and they'll just be lifeless. And so you basically take that and you can administer that. The drug can still be absorbed through the mucosal the membrane of the nose.
At what point, well, let me back up. How long is the training? You said 10 to 15 minutes?
Oh, yeah. We have people walk in probably over the last year. My wife Sandy and I, through both stores, have probably dispensed roughly about 50 to 100 boxes to either patients, parents. We work with West Care because they want people that are in recovery that are going to come out to have some when they come out, and those type of people to slowly disseminate it out. We didn't really. You couldn't banner it at the time because the first initial grant from SAMHSA and Corps was only limited, but since then they have expanded that. And so at that point, as I said, we're working with her, with Cindy, to try to get more of this out, and part of the reason that I'm here tonight.
If someone wanted to come to a pharmacy and buy a box of Narcan, what would the cost be?
Oh, it's going to run somewhere between $175 and $200.
But there is grant money out there to get it. Is it just for first responders?
No, sir.
So it's anybody.
Yeah, I mean, and again, because of the grant now through drug control, through Van Ingram's department at drug control, most of this, they would prefer not to go toward first responders, but we are working with them until that comes into full effect. But this is for, like, you know, you, your wife, your family, you know, if you have someone, and as Cindy said, you know, it could be as simple as your mother who has never had an opioid, who might be, you know, might take a sleeping tablet that has gone and had a dental procedure and been given something, given a pain medicine, you know, that's been naive to an opioid, and they can turn over just like that and could go into a state like that.
So if someone wanted to be trained, they could just simply call your pharmacy?
Yeah, they just walk in.
Are there other pharmacies doing it as well, or is it
Not
just...
in the county, not yet, but in Pike County, that's the only two that are working with the grant. There are a couple, I think Howard's Pharmacy at Allen in Floyd County that I know of. And again, they were only laid out a few throughout the state because the supply was only so great, but I know they're looking to expand that. But they can walk into the pharmacy anytime and walk up and ask the pharmacist in either one of those stores. And we'll be more than happy to provide the education, and they will leave with a box of Narcan with 2 doses in it. And it will be their prescription. We can provide that to them.
And you know, a lot of times in Pike County, the first people on the scene of any kind of 911 situation are our volunteer fire departments. I think it will be, if we could get you together, you two, with Randy Courtney, who's the president of the Firefighters Association, and Doug Tackett, our 911 Emergency Management Director, and we could set a training class up to where we could bring in members of all the volunteer fire departments in the county, Shelby Creek Rescue Squad, and where we can get this training done. It literally will save lives. I don't say it could, it will, because we know how many lives have been lost in this county.
Yes.
Do the members of the court have any questions about the app or the program in Narcan? What, Commissioner Booth, you have anything? And Commissioner Booth is on the fire department board at Belfry, so I mean, all of us try to work closely with our volunteer fire departments, and to me, that would be the easiest way to get people trained in our communities around the county to where, and if we could have the fire department members and we could get people to understand how important this app could be, literally, if you're, you know, that's going to send that, as I understand it, Cindy, if you report an overdose, it will send that to all
the responders in a certain geographic area.
So you could get people even much quicker, even potentially than 911. Before you could call 911, you could already have sent the warning or the request for help to the first responders.
We've had this in development and in testing for a couple of years now, because obviously when you're talking about doing something that could save lives, you want to have tested it thoroughly. So we've tested it in all different kinds of areas of Pike County to see how quickly those alerts go out, and it has worked beautifully. Now, there are no guarantees. For example, if you don't have cell service, it's not going to work. So there are some things that we just can't, at this point, get over. But for the vast majority of our area, it should work beautifully. And what we hope, and you alluded to it earlier about this becoming much larger, you know, there's something very powerful about local people solving their own problems. We don't have to have somebody come in from outside to do it for us. Here's an app that was developed by local people, by a local company. We believe we got this great synergy of working together with the county to do a pilot program, maybe for a year, and actually measure the results and get some data. And when that happens, we believe this thing could go worldwide, not just across the country, because there's already some interest. I've talked at length and done some presentations to a large healthcare company in Miami that's very interested. So I do think there are going to be opportunities for this to expand, but we need a controlled local project first.
Well, I really do think you're onto something here, because I mean, particularly in a metropolitan area where you have, you know, everyone has a cell phone, and you have a massive number of people. This potentially would even work better in an urban area than a rural area.
It
So-
could. The big difference, I think, for us and why we need it so much is that we can't guarantee we can get ambulances to people as quickly as we need to sometimes. And if you're in a larger city, then ambulance services probably have a shorter response time. So I think it makes us uniquely desperate for this service.
We are desperate for solutions to address the opioid epidemic.
We treat Narcan in the world of pharmacy just the opposite we do other prescription medicines. When we dispense prescription medicines to patients, we pretty much say, this is medicine to keep to yourself. Don't share with other people what you're taking. You can make a list and those type of things. Narcan's just the opposite.
Joe,
So
can you show how it's administered real quick? I think you've got an applicator there. It's just like a nasal
It
spray.
just basically goes in the nose and you just push it up. And that's it.
That simple could save somebody's life.
And so we think that basically you'll start seeing people drive around town with bumper stickers on that says, I have Narcan on board.
It's that important.
Oh, it unbelievable.
Is there anything else you all would like to add, or anything else that the court would like to?
I just like to say that what we got to keep in mind too here is that it's somebody's mother, dad, brother, sister, daughter, son, grandkids, great-grandkids, and it can all be by accident too. You know, older people, younger people, it doesn't matter.
Well, this is
a great deal.
Commissioner, this is not just for the addicts.
Right.
I mean, we see this, we see this every day in the people that you least expect.
I would like to share with you, and thank you for mentioning the new media company, because this also falls into place beautifully. We will have to have a very intense marketing campaign to let the public know about this. We could have all the responders in the world, but if the general public doesn't have the app downloaded and know to use it, it won't matter. And vice versa. We could have everybody in Pike County download this app, but if we don't have our responders, so it all has to come together just like the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And I am obviously offering the services of the radio and TV station from Mountaintop Media to help publicize this. But one thing we would ask the court to do that could be so helpful is to just endorse it, be behind it, help us get this message out, and encourage our citizens to participate.
I think that it's safe to say, I'm speaking on behalf of the court, that we will do whatever we can to help implement this program among our first responders and get word out. That's why I put it on the agenda tonight, because I do think it's important enough that people, hopefully listening on Pike TV or watching Facebook, or when they read the News Express, will get to see about this program, because you know it could be someone that's very dear to any one of us.
Yes.
And you know, Judge, just as a point, you don't have to have a grant to get Narcan. You can talk to your family practitioner or your doctor, and they can write a prescription, and it can be billed or paid for through other insurances and those type matters. There are some insurances out there more that are paying for 100% so that they can have this on board within that patient or within that family environment. So it can be accessed through regular routes also.
Well, as you're here tonight, I'm instructing the emergency management director to get with you, set a meeting up with Randy Courtney, who's been very, very supportive of the court and what we're trying to do and moving the county in the right direction. Let us coordinate with the volunteer fire departments and rescue squad to try to get a meeting set up to where you could probably come in and do mass training for people and, start getting the word out about this Odie Save program. And I think that's important. Hopefully, I know when I go home tonight, I'm going to download the program, and I'll probably stop by and see you next week. And, I think it's something that's important because, again, it could happen to anybody in any family. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Before we move to the second item on the agenda, I would like to invite 31st District State Senator Phillip Wheeler to come up and address the court. Have a seat right there and beside Mr. Thornberry. And
No, I'm out.
Okay. Joe, how are you? Senator, how are you?
congratulations. It was, I can say it was not always that the state senator was welcome in front of the fiscal court.
Well, I'm glad that the state senator here tonight is welcome in front of the fiscal court, and I'd like to say that the fiscal court and its members are always welcome to contact me. I appreciate all your talk about teamwork. I mean, here in Eastern Kentucky, we really need teamwork to advance this county forward. I think this commission and this court has done wonders to bring the activities in this county open out to the public. I think that's something very important. There's a lot of difficult decisions to be made, and you know, tough calls that that I'm sure that none of you all necessarily were either expecting, or you may have been expecting, or at least not happy about having to make them. I mean, on the same time, you've stepped up to the plate, and I want to be part of the solution to the extent that I can facilitate work between Frankfort and this court and the other fiscal courts in the 31st District and the local communities. I consider that my principal job and my principal agenda as the new state senator for the 31st District.
We're glad to have you here tonight, and we will be contacting you, the members of the court, and my staff will be contacting you from time to time. If I can help you in any way, based on my 18 years that I had the privilege of representing this county in the state senate, and like I said, there was a period of time where the state senator was not very welcome in the fiscal courtroom, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen. And we do look forward to working with you. This is not what we deal with are not partisan issues. What we deal with are issues that are important to every man, woman, and child in this county. And if you look up here, we've got a fairly substantial number of members of your party and my party up here, including yours truly, Deputy Judge here. You know, we try to approach these issues in a transparent way and try to find solutions to problems, and we look forward to working with you. And like you said, you're always welcome, and you don't need an invitation from the fiscal court. If there's a matter that is taking place in Frankfort that you think we need to know about, and just so the folks will know, there were some issues that came up in the last few days of the session after you were sworn in that I was concerned about as it would pertain to county government, and you and I were able to text back and forth to discuss those. And I think that's important that we can have that line of communication between local government, state government, cross party lines, because I think, you know, you're raising a young son here, and your wife's from here, and you're from here. So we're all vested here, no matter what party label we have. But make no mistake, you're always welcome, at least as long as I'm judge, and these men are the members of the court. You're always welcome in the Pike County Fiscal Court at any time.
Well, Judge, I thank you, and again, we're old friends, and I look forward to continuing remaining friends, and anything I can do to facilitate this court's efforts to move this county forward, please don't hesitate to reach out. And likewise, if, as you said, there were some interesting things that came up in the end of the session, and thankfully that you know, myself and a few of the other folks were able to take the concerns that you had and address those, so that that those were fixed before the session ended.
And one of those issues, just so the public will know and the press will know, is there was legislation to change the franchise tax for banks. And the question is, that potentially could have cost the city of Pikeville $150,000, and the county about $260,000.
Yeah, and the Coal Run, I think, also was going to have to lay off an officer because that was going to be $35,000. The city of Louisa, there were many local government institutions that would have been negatively impacted, and thankfully we were able to effectuate a needed change on the last day of the session.
And we appreciate your attention to that, and I appreciate your responsiveness. And again, you're always welcome, and we look forward to working with you over the next 2 years to move this county forward.
All right, thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations, or condolences, Senator, as it may be.
It's definitely, I understand you had a very difficult balancing act. I'm learning that very quickly.
It is not an easy thing to serve in the General Assembly, and but it was a tremendous honor. And again, congratulations to you and your family. I know they're very proud of you.
All right, thank you, Judge. All right, thank you.
The next matter on the agenda is a presentation by Mr. Billy Carrico, who is the Pike County Hub Manager for Teleworks. And Billy, you're welcome to come on up. It's good seeing you here. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Judge. I know this is the first time that I've met some of you. So, as the judge said, I'm Billy Carrico. I'm your Teleworks Hub Manager here for Pike County. And just to give you just a real brief introduction to what I do. Teleworks is a nonprofit located here in Eastern Kentucky and specifically here in Pike County to help our residents find jobs. And those jobs that we focus on are in a digital economy. So these are work from home jobs, legitimate work from home jobs with national companies doing either tech support or customer service for those companies. So just a little rundown of how it goes. The company will approach us, our leadership team, and say, hey, we have a requisition. We need 20 great candidates, or we need 200 great candidates. And then we will work throughout our hub system, one being here in Pike County, and then we have 8 other hubs. We'll work between all of us to find those candidates and get them plugged in, do training with them if necessary, and help diversify our workforce and bring in outside dollars here in the Pike County and let our residents who want to stay here and work and thrive.
Why don't you, Billy, just start from the basics for the people who are listening to this that have never heard of Teleworks.
Sure.
You have members of the press here, you have Pike TV. There's people that will be watching this or reading about this that may not have any clue about what Teleworks does.
Sure.
And until Mr. Morris, Brian Morris, when he was deputy judge, he called me and asked me to support Teleworks in my capacity as state senator. I really had never been involved with it. So just start at the beginning, take your time, explain to us what Teleworks does, how it works, and just educate us a little bit.
Sure. So we all know somebody who needs a job. I know I do. I know we all do in our communities. We know that certain things have affected our economy, certain national things have affected us here in Pike County and throughout Eastern Kentucky. So if the economy takes a downturn, here at Teleworks, we found out that one of the best things we can do to create more jobs is to keep our people right here and to bring in outside companies and outside money and bring that back to the county. So the way that we do that is our leadership team, my manager, they focus on building partnerships with these companies, national and international tech support and customer service companies. They develop those partnerships, they work on those relationships to where they can get a call, like I said earlier, and a recruiting manager from this company can talk to my manager, Betty, and they can say, Betty, we need your people. So Betty can get that information out to us. Like I said, it could be 10 people, it could be 20 people, it could be 200 people. We've had some big requisitions. We can take that information, develop a workshop. So we're looking at the people that we already have, because we know we have a great workforce. We have people who have been in industry, whether that's the coal industry or other people who have been in the service industry, food service, retail, all of these skills. We can take that, repurpose these skills into a digital economy so that they can stay here in Pike County, stay here with us. We don't want our people to have to move across the state or out of the state to find quality employment. So what we decided to do was to bring that here to be available to everybody. And we do that, again, through a digital economy. So you can actually work at home for these companies. And I know that when I say work at home, a lot of ideas will pop into people's heads about, you know, make $300 a day or you know, all the ads that we see on the internet. But these are actually legitimate work from home companies, brands that you all recognize. We just finished a major push with TurboTax. We're getting ready to go into another push for one of our Apple companies, for an iOS company. We're getting ready to look into another healthcare company. So I know the brand that company represents is WellCare, which is an insurance provider. So these are legitimate national, in some cases international companies that are looking for quality people to work their customer service and their tech support lines. And there is some entry-level jobs that can be had. So if you don't have those skills, we can find you an entry-level position. If you're here in Pike County and you need a job, you can come see me on Ford Mountain. We can do a little assessment, see where you're at, see where your skills are at, if we need to focus on your soft skills. or customer service skills. If you need to know how to talk to somebody and do those things, we can do that. We can work on your typing skills. We can work on your computer skills, do some general computer education, some general internet education as well. Also, there is higher paying jobs as well. So outside of the entry level, we have $9 and $10 an hour jobs, but we also have tier 2 jobs, which will include, again, major brands like you're used to hearing about: Comcast, Apple, Hilton, brands all across the country. And those jobs, starting out right now, they're about $12 and $13 an hour. I have several people who have gone beyond that into management and leadership training for these companies, who are staying at home here in Pike County, specifically in the Phillips and Majestic community. I have a few people making $17 an hour. So one of my favorite stories, he knows who he is, and we won't share it here, but he's making as much as he made now working on a strip job. So that's been one of my greatest successes. I feel like that's one of the things I love to share, that he's able to not have to drive an hour and a half to work and leave the county. He's able to stay home in his community, use the internet services that he already had, and provide a quality. He's not just surviving, he's thriving in that community. And when you look at some of our outlying communities, I'm from McCarr, from Buskirk right there, and when you look at communities like Buskirk or some of the places on this side of the county, or Phelps, or Elkhorn City, when you look at these communities, you don't think Tech Hub, a place that is a center of the digital economy, but we're becoming that very, very quickly. We're bringing in money, we're bringing in jobs, and we're seeing people have a lot of success with these programs, and we're excited about what's coming up as well.
How many people in the Pikeville, or the Pike County hub, do you have employed right now?
As of today, we're hoping to add 2 more to this number by Thursday. As of today, we've employed 205.
How many are still working? Some of those?
Our retention rate's at about 70% for a year. What it is, when you come into the office, part of what you sign up for is for me to annoy you for a year. So I call you once a quarter, track you for 1 year, and make sure that if you did lose your job for some reason, that I get you another job. If that's something you're looking for, that I can help you out with that. So for 1 year, we track these individuals, and our retention rate is between 70 and 75%. So 70 to 75% of those 205 on average are still employed after a year.
Okay, do you know how many people are working in the county now, or in the hub now, actually employed?
In the hub?
In the hub.
I have 5 up there right now.
Okay, and how many out is it just Pike County that's served by the hub, or do you also take care of?
I would be responsible for Pike, and we have an office here and an office in Louisa. So would be responsible for Pike and Floyd and some of Johnson County.
Okay. If people are interested in finding work through Teleworks, how would they go about contacting you?
Sure. So they can always reach us on Facebook. Either they can Facebook Teleworks USA, and that'll bring them right to our page. We have a website as well, teleworksusa.com, or they can contact me at 606-438-5535, and that's my direct line. All they have to say is, I'm interested in getting to work, and we'll set a meeting with them. You come in, it's not a formal thing. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to, we're just here to help. So come in, we'll help you develop a resume. We'll look at what we have available and what your skill set is, and then we'll kind of go from there and start putting in applications, or set you up for a workshop if you feel like you need some help learning these skills.
What can the court do to help Teleworks?
The main thing that court does, and the court does a great job of it, the fiscal court has supported us from day one, even before I was involved with the project. You guys, it obviously wouldn't exist without your ongoing support as well. But the main thing you can do in your communities is just get the word out. I do have that struggle of where I will post a job on Facebook and say, hey, we need 30 people to come in, and I need you to do this, this, and this. And then other people will post below that something that's maybe not as legitimate. So I just need you to let your communities, your family, your friends know that if they're looking for work here in Pike County, just to come see me. That would be a major, major help. That's something we still fight every day, is to say, no, this isn't a fly-by-night thing. This is just a job. You're going to sign a W-4. You're going to get a W-2. We don't even really focus on that much 1099 work. It's all legitimate tax-paying. Come get a job, pay your taxes, be a good citizen work. And you can do it right here in Pike County and not have to leave.
Billy, thank you very much. Does the members of the court have any questions or comments about Teleworks?
How many applications a year do you take, or I mean, are they about everybody you take goes to work, or?
That's a good question. I see probably at least 2 new people a day, and then I get repeats as well, people who have to follow up. So we also help with onboarding. So if I did the application with you, I don't just leave you out to hang out there. You can come back, I can help you do the onboarding, send your IDs in, complete your I-9, which is a Homeland Security form to show you're a resident of the United States. We help you through all the onboarding process. Some people are just shopping. That's okay. But I always tell everybody that if they want to be employed and if they'll stick with me, I can find them something. Case in point, some people will come in and they'll hear about our Apple positions, which obviously that would be the top job, just by the nature of who they are. They pay the most. They have the most prestige. Those are hard to get. But if people will come in and work with me and I can get you into an entry-level customer service job for 6 months experience, after that 6 months, we can move you up. We can do more applications. If you want to work, it's available. I can get you a job.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ronnie? Billy, we're here to help. Whatever we can do, you can contact me or any member of the court or Judge Hickman, and we look forward to working with you. Appreciate what you're trying to do.
As we talked about before, I have some more information to share with you. We can do that another time, but I've been working with Jeannie to get you some. I think everybody has these in their packets. It's just a little breakdown of our number, and then these are just some highlights of 2018 as well. So there's a couple stories in there. We like stories. We like our teleworkers to speak out and to tell us all their good experiences. But again, thank you guys.
I'll make sure I give Mr. Cassidy a copy of this in case he would like it to. We need all the positive support for telework.
Absolutely.
And let people know that if they want to stay home. And the thing about staying home is you're not traveling. Even though it may not be the pay that someone may be used to, but there's also a lot of expense that you're not having to incur by being able to stay home.
Definitely. And some of the companies, they've shared with us that if you made $13 an hour in the community or $13 an hour at home, that's actually a 30% raise, because you're not spending gas, you're not buying work clothes, you're not eating out every day, which is expensive. So it's a big raise. If you made the same amount out, you're making 30% more, making the same dollar amount at home. So that's definitely something to take into consideration as well.
And you being a Pike County native, we're proud of what you're trying to do for your community and your county.
That's why we're here. That's exactly why. I don't want to leave Pike County, and I had that option once I graduated college to look at different things, but I wanted to stay right here. And as other people have already mentioned, I'm raising a family here as well. Actually have one more to add to that pretty soon. So pretty excited about that. Thank you. And want to raise them both right here.
We look forward. You're always welcome. Just anytime you need to address the court, you're more than welcome. Just contact Jeannie or Judge Hickman, and they'll put you on the agenda.
I know I'm taking up too much time. I'm sorry about that. I actually do have one major thing coming up. There is a huge hiring event for Apple coming up. It'll be our big event of the summer. So if you do want one of those top-level jobs, if anybody's listening to this right now, now's the time to come get a training class. It does require a 2-week commitment for a class with us, but that's the way to get into that Apple job right now.
All right, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is acknowledgment of the receipt of the July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020 budget for the Pike County Conservation District. And we have Miss Lisa Birchfield, who's the Administrative Secretary. Lisa, would you? And Mr. Mullins, have a seat. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for inviting us.
First of all, just for purposes of the record and the media, would you please introduce yourselves and tell us your title?
I'm Lisa Birchfield. I'm the Administrative Secretary. My name is Brian Mullins, and I am a member of the Board of Supervisors at the Conservation District.
Well, first of all, the first question would be, why don't, a lot of folks may not be familiar with the Conservation District. They may see the tax bill on their tax ticket, but they really don't know what the Conservation District does. Would you explain what your role is and what you do?
We're made up of 7 elected supervisors that are all Pike County residents, and we work on conserving soil, water, and basically other related natural resources. We are located at Zebulon Heights, near the former Wide Open Outdoors, just as you cross over the hill past Pike Central. Our office hours are generally during the daytime, Monday through Friday. Lisa's usually there. We have a long list of programs that we work with for Pike County residents, one of which is our tree seedling program. That's coming up on the 4th, so that'll be Thursday. And we'll be giving away about 2,400, 2,500 trees. We've done that for years, and over the years, I'd say we've given away thousands and thousands of trees to residents of Pike County. We also participate in a dead animal removal program, working with the Pike County Solid Waste Program. We refund the Solid Waste Program for removal and disposal of dead farm animals, which really assists with water conservation. We assist landowners in Pike County for applying for farm numbers if they're going through the process to apply for a farm number. We participate in the county cost share program through to help landowners work with conservation needs like fencing or ponds. Or we also do water quality testing for landowners in Pike County and helping them come up with a water quality plan. We participate in a reading program for Pike County schools. Lisa's been out to about 8 schools so far this year. I think the kids are really enjoying that too, by the way. We'll participate in the seed swap that's coming up, the Appalachian seed swap. That'll be, I think it's this weekend, close to this weekend. That's at Pike Central. We participated in that every year. It's been ongoing. We participate in the state art and writing contest. Those packets go out to every teacher, or at least every school in Pike County. And we give certificates to winners and awards for students and teachers. There's some photos there of our last awards program. Kids always enjoy it, and they learn a lot about soil and water conservation and soil stewardship. Of course, they always are interested in awards and gifts that they get too. We participate in a hay workshop working with the Cooperative Extension Service. The last one was held on October 4th. We teach landowners on best management practices of their land and provide them with free grass seed if they attend the workshop. We also participate where you have a new program coming up. It's called Adopt a Tree for Free. That's going to be on April the 16th at 6 o'clock at our office. There'll be about 20 kids from kindergarten and first grade and their parents. They'll learn how to plant and care for tree seedlings and learn why trees are important to the environment, and they'll actually receive a free tree seedling to take home. It's a free event, and you can obtain tickets online at Eventbrite. We just finished up our last appliance buyback, working with Pike County Solid Waste at the county road lots. The way that works, we publicize that to Pike County residents, They can bring in stoves, refrigerators, washers, dryers, microwaves, hot water tanks, deep freezers. This last program that we just did was almost 500 appliances removed from the county to a cost of about $5,900 that are no longer laying out there in those illegal dumps that scatter the county. We participated in this program for many years. We actually one time many years ago did a junk car buyback. We provide state cost share information for local landowners here in Pike County. We also work with what's called the NRCS to provide access to any kind of national resource conservation program to landowners in Pike County. We work with a lot of agencies too, Judge, including the Fiscal Court, Pike County Solid Waste. Pride is a partner of ours, the Extension Office, the Health Department, Division of Forestry, the NRCS, Fish and Wildlife. The Farm Bureau is the sponsor of the Art and Writing Contest, and we work with a lot of teachers, and we work with radio and TV stations too. Some of the programs that we've done there, working with the Veteran Center at Robinson Creek, we provided soil for their raised garden beds. And a couple years ago, when Pikeville Elementary was working on their garden, we helped provide donations for a lot of garden utensils that they use too. We work with landowners who want to improve timber stands or wildlife habitats or improve soil conservation or improve the quality of their soil. We work with watershed restoration. We're also a contact agency because Pike County has a conservation district that's a member of the Kentucky Association and a member of the National Association. We can provide what is called EWP, and I know a lot of times we speak in initials. That's Emergency Watershed Protection, okay? Since 2009, the NRCS has spent about $8.5 million in Pike County for emergency watershed protection and about $3 million in floodplain easement. And that purchased about 25 houses that were located in a floodplain and had been flooded many times over, and that property now belongs to the county through that program. Most of those were located in the Johns Creek area.
Winds Branch, some of them were.
Yeah, and some were located at Millard in that area. That property has returned to natural land now. And one of the qualifications for that is if they participate in the program, it cannot be built on anymore. So hopefully never to be flooded again. And then through the EQIP program, landowners can apply for assistance with high tunnels, and we have 5 high tunnels in production in Pike County right now, and 3 more that have just been approved. So our future goals coming up, we would like to purchase additional property where we are to build some equipment storage sheds. That way we can start purchasing equipment that landowners in Pike County could use, but possibly they couldn't afford. And through kind of like a program where they would check that equipment in and out, they would be able to utilize it to take care of, timber sheds or, lime spreading or seeding or wood chipping. Our meetings are the second Tuesday of every month. They are open to the public, and they usually start right about 5:30. I say usually start because at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we always tell everyone they're open to the public. The public's welcome to attend. And we encourage, too, fiscal court members, if they ever want to attend, we would love to have you.
We appreciate the invitation, and I think your presentation has been very informative. We do appreciate, in particular, the work with our solid waste department. I don't want to beat a dead horse, for lack of a better term, but we want to clean up this county.
We do, too.
And we would like to know, is there any other programs that soil conservation could do working with solid waste in terms of illegal dump cleanups or litter abatement besides the junk cars or the appliance buyback? Because, one of the biggest problems we have is we only have one officer to police the entire county. But we also have limited resources in terms of dump cleanup and those kind of things.
Well, we participate in the dead animal removal, the junk car buyback, and the appliance buyback. One thing that we had looked at as well, and one of our board of supervisors is interested in and that we're researching right now, is tire removal. And the process to go through to safely collect them and safely recycle them.
Well, we have a proposed, I'm not sure we're going to do that tonight. I'm trying to look at the agenda. We are working on a proposed ordinance for waste tire removal. And Mr. Sanders, who is the Pride Coordinator, Chuck Morley, and the solid waste folks, it may be beneficial for you to get your office or your staff to get with them, your directors, because what we've learned is, we're not making enough money on what we're charging for tire disposal to pay to dispose of them. And it is a nuisance, and that's, we're going to try to come up with a better solution than what's been done for years in this county and try to, again, clean the county up and save the taxpayers money.
So the way these programs work are usually through what are called environmental grants, and those grants stipulate certain amounts to be paid for certain purposes. People usually know how grants work. And then, like with the appliance buyback, whatever money that we receive from the recycling goes right back into the program. So we would have to research to see how it would work for like a tire removal kind of thing. But yes, we'd be happy to look into it.
Brian, do you see any chance at all for another car removal program in the near future?
We would just have to go through the process to say we're applying for an environmental grant. This is what it's going to be for. This is the amount of money we're requesting. When we did that before, it was a harder process to kind of manage them, the appliances were. Because it's kind of easy to recycle a refrigerator, a little bit more difficult to recycle a whole, junk car.
Well, transportation becomes an issue there, I'm sure.
Yeah, which we were glad to work with the solid waste program because they let us use the solid waste lots all over the county, and people brought the appliances in to us. So it works out a little better. We actually hosted the other day too, the Kentucky Association of Conservation Districts held their regional meeting here in Pikeville. So we had about 80 to 90 people attend, and we had 16 counties represented here that spent the day. And thank you, Reggie, for coming down to talk with them. We appreciated it very much. They were very complimentary of the county, and they were very complimentary of the city. And some of them hadn't been here in 5-10 years. One gentleman said that he didn't even recognize it anymore, that it had been 20 years since he had been here. I think for us, living here and growing up here and living here, you don't notice it because it's incremental. But if you imagine you went back to, 1999, things have changed a lot.
I do think we've made massive improvement in terms of our infrastructure and roads, and I was out of town with my kids last weekend, and I asked Reggie to go down in my place, and I regret that I couldn't be there, but sometimes family has to come first. Anything we can do to help, let us know. Would like for you to get with the folks in solid waste as soon as possible before we put anything more concrete together on that waste tire ordinance.
Okay.
You also have presented us, and it's on the agenda tonight, to acknowledge your budget. Total expenditures of $165,050. Is that correct? That's in the packet, and I assume the members have had opportunity to look at that. Is there a motion to acknowledge receipt of the budget of the Pike County Conservation District?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Is there any question or discussion? And do the commissioners have anything to add or any questions about the soil conservation?
Just keep up the good work. It sounds good.
Keep on keeping on.
All right, we have a motion and second. Seeing no question or discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth? Yes. Judge Jones?
Yes. Thank you all very much. And Lisa, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Good evening. You all have a good night, and look forward to seeing you soon. The next item on the agenda is second reading of a proposed ordinance extending County Road 7520, which is Pigeon Roost. Mr. Little, would you please have a seat at the podium, please?
Judge, if you're ready, this is a second reading of intended passage regarding Pigeon Roost, and as this is a second reading, a motion and a vote will be in order following the reading. Whereas it has been determined to be in the best interest of the public for the Pike County Fiscal Court to formally accept public roads into the Fiscal County road system, and whereas KRS 178-010, subsection 1B, defines a county road as a public road which has been accepted by the Fiscal Court into the county road system. Whereas, where the fiscal court finds that the 31-foot minimum cannot be met due to the topography of the road or other extraordinary circumstances, a 30-foot width would not be appropriate. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Pike County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the following road, being public in nature, being is hereby formally and officially accepted into the Pike County road system and shall hereafter be a part of said system. Road number 7520, road name Pigeon Roost, length 9/10 extension for a total of 2.9 miles to be maintained. Approved by the Fiscal Court this is the 19th day of March 2019 and adopted by the Fiscal Court this is the 2nd day of April 2019. And as I said, motion and vote is in order.
All right, thank you. Mr. Little, just briefly explain why we're having to do this.
Well, the reason for the total of 9/10 is just because it was 7/10 of that was to update our books. We had a little discrepancy from what our books had said, and what we were actually working. And and then the other 2/10 was an addition that Commissioner Booth had wanted to add on. This will bring our books up to date.
So we were going to add 2/10 on for a total of 2.9 miles. But when we looked at it, the records the county had only showed that there was two miles in the system.
Correct, yes.
So the county had been maintaining 7/10 of a mile of road that there was no record it had ever been adopted into the system.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or none that I could find.
Okay, so we wanted to make sure that it was all
legal
and clarified. All right. So, Mr. King, you're confident that everything is in order and we are ready to proceed. Is that correct?
I am, Judge.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance extending Pigeon Roost Road by 9/10 of a mile? And this is County Road 7520. Motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. I know he's worked on this issue and has gone over there and looked at this with you. Mr. Little. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any question or discussion? Mr. Little, you have anything to add?
No.
Seeing no question or discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. The next matter is the second reading of proposed ordinances amending sections 484, 486, 462, and 464 of the County Administrative Code. Mr. King, would you please proceed?
Yes, we've got four amendments here. Do we want to do these individually and vote, or do we want to do them cumulative and have one vote?
I think we did them all together since it's amending just sections of the Administrative Code. You can go ahead. Yeah, we did them all in the first reading together, so we're good to go.
All right. The first one we'll address is Section 484 regarding disciplinary suspension of hourly employees and administrative employees. Section 1, Subsection C, insubordination, unsatisfactory work performance, or failing to fulfill an assigned task, dishonesty, or lying to a supervisor. The second amendment will be section 486 regarding dismissal of hourly employees and administrative employees, which will now read section 1, subsection C, insubordination, unsatisfactory work performance or failing to fulfill an assigned task, dishonesty, or lying to a supervisor. Section 462, which is the sick leave policy, subsection 9, would now read, any provision of this section to the contrary notwithstanding, any employee with accumulated sick leave may donate such accumulated sick leave to an employee who has exhausted his or her sick leave, vacation and personal time, and the employee is suffering from a catastrophic illness. In addition, the employee is allowed a one-time extension for donated sick leave not to exceed 30 days. Catastrophic illness is defined as a severe illness requiring prolonged hospitalization, treatment, and/or recovery, is considered life-threatening, and may leave significant residual disability. Catastrophic illness includes and is limited to AIDS, major burns, trauma with residual paralysis, coma, heart attack, stroke, and cancer. This amendment to the Pike County Administrative Code does not apply to individuals participating in the donated sick leave program or who are on such sick leave and receiving donations of sick leave before the effective date of this amendment. And the final amendment we will be addressing tonight, is section 464, job-related disability time. Subsection 8, or disability leave, I'm sorry, subsection 8, purpose, to provide employees with a free day as a reward for no lost time accidents. Policy statement, as we continue to improve on our workers' comp losses, this is to recognize the efforts of our employees that continue to show safety as a priority. Procedures, 1. For every 3 months that each department has no lost time accidents on a workers' comp claim, a free day will be given to all employees in that department the following quarter. The free day that the employee has earned must be used the following quarter. It will be the employee's choice as to what day they take pending their immediate supervisor's approval. Any employee wishing to take a day within a specific month of the following quarter shall notify their supervisor within the first 3 business days of the month in which they wish to exercise the free day. 2. For every department that goes accident-free for the entire year, this will include auto losses as well as workers' comp losses, the fiscal court will give each employee of that department an additional $75 for the purchase of new uniforms. Definitions, free day, paid day off, no lost time accidents. A lost time accident is defined as an accident that occurs that requires the employee to miss work. Medical-only claims will not count against the employee. And the disclaimer, this policy is not designed to discourage any employee who is injured from seeking medical attention. We encourage every employee who gets injured on the job to be cleared by a physician before returning to work. This policy is only designed to reward employees for making safety a priority.
Mr. Maynard, would you like to briefly address the amendment to section 464, since that's something that you had implemented before this court took office, but that the prior court had never implemented into the administrative code?
Yes, Judge. Just a brief history. The reason we came up with the free day initiative is that we cannot do very many things to reward employees for being safe. Like, you know, you'd have the coal company at Sydney, they would purchase new uniforms for them. They would purchase different gifts for employees who were accident-free. We cannot do that here at the fiscal court. So in order to reward those employees, we decided to do the free day initiative and give them a free day. And the employees have really enjoyed that. And as you can see from our workers' comp losses, it has driven them down drastically, in addition to the return to work program.
And so that our taxpayers in the county understand that the policy is not to create some perk that's not available in the private sector, but it's intended to help save taxpayer money by reducing our workers' comp premiums.
That is correct.
And encouraging employees to return to work as opposed to taking off for minor injuries and things of that nature.
Yes, and what you would see in our workers' comp losses, if you go back, you would have spikes when people would file claims. Most of that happened during deer season. Okay, so I mean, whether it was legitimate or not, I don't know, I can't tell you. But one thing I can tell you is that the employees enjoy this free day, and that stops any frivolous claim that you may have. And like I said, that again has driven down our losses, and part of that is contributed to the return to work program. Before, we could not bring these employees back to work. It was written in the administrative code that you had to be fully capable of doing your job.
And we've changed that.
And we have changed that. So now we can bring them back on light duty.
I briefly want to address this, and I'm sure that some of the members of the court want to. Section 462 would not impact, the amendment would not impact any county worker who is currently participating in the donated sick leave policy. But the way that program has worked, and as well intended as it was, it has driven the cost of the county's health insurance through the roof, because individuals who would otherwise be eligible for Social Security or Medicaid or Medicare have been kept on the county payroll and insurance for prolonged periods of time, and in situations where they've had catastrophic injuries or catastrophic illnesses. And last year, for every $100 that the county paid in health insurance premiums, the health insurance carrier paid $204.50 out. So you can imagine when the county's health insurance provider comes back to us, you're not going to get the same premium as you had the year before. And fortunately, because the provider that we have for health insurance, the premiums are capped, I think, at 5% growth per year by contract. Is that correct, Mr. Hickman?
No, Judge, that's not correct.
On the health insurance, it's not?
No, it's capped at 20%.
20%, I'm sorry. That's why I wasn't a math major. But what we're hopeful is that this program will help contain the catastrophic losses. The other two sections are for dismissal and suspension of hourly and administrative employees. We have had some issues with dishonesty, and we believe that if county employees are not fulfilling their obligation to the taxpayers of the county, that they should not be allowed to remain on the county payroll. This court has taken the position, I believe it's fair to say, that we are going to instill discipline, that we're going to try to be good bosses and supervisors, but we also expect our employees to do what they've been hired to do. Do any of the members of the court have anything to add to this? All right. Given that a vote is in order, is there a motion to adopt this proposed amendment to the County Administrative Code? We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second? We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett? Yes. Commissioner Booth? Yes. Judge Jones?
Yes. I'm going to jump around, and I'm going to, since this is a regular meeting, I want to add something just briefly. I'm not sure Ms. Hall, Sharon Hall, is Sharon still here? She's already gone. We were awarded a grant by the USDA for $50,000 to help with a project at the Shelby Valley Volunteer Fire Department. And we will need to come up with a $12,500 match, 25%. I would make a motion that we request a drawdown from the Department of Local Government of the $12,500 from our single county coal severance tax account. Once we send that in, then we would have to get letters from our legislators. I think we have one here today that would probably be inclined to help us with the Shelby Valley Fire Department. This is a project that when I was still state senator was brought to me, and there was a request for about $40,000 of drawdown on coal severance tax. And in my prior job, I talked to Ms. Robinson and others and encouraged them to see if we could find grant money so as we wouldn't have to spend the coal severance tax money. We have also asked some private vendors. I think Right Way Concrete or Right Way Block has provided block. I'm not sure if that was at a donation or if it was at a discounted, substantially discounted rate. We think that will be able to go toward the match as well. We're working on that. So it would be my motion that the court submit a request to the Department of Local Government to draw down the $12,500 match from our single county coal severance tax account. We would then again have to seek the support from each of the Pike County legislators, Representative Harris, Representative Blanton, and Representative Hatton. Is there a I don't think I forgot anybody. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. The next matter on the agenda is I'd like to ask Mr. Greg Fannin to come forward for the awarding of bids. Mr. Fannin, the floor is yours.
Judge, we did a bid opening yesterday, April 1st, on bid number 18-2019, full-size SUV for the detention center. We received one bid. It was from Walters GM Auto Mall from here in Pikeville for a bid price of $49,472. The vehicle that was bid was a 2019 Chevrolet Tahoe. There was no exceptions to the bid specifications. The vehicle's in stock and ready for delivery. It's my recommendation that we award the bid to Walters GM Auto Mall with a bid price of $49,472.
I may be wrong, but isn't this coming out of the jail budget? Is that correct? Is that correct? It is. Mr. Stacy says it is correct.
Yes.
All right. The matter before the court is the awarding of a bid number 18-2019. Is there a motion to award this bid to Walters GM Auto Mall?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Mr. Fannin, is there any other business to come before the court?
I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is the first reading of a proposed ordinance for Raspberry Lane. This is a, Mr. Little, please come up. This is a road that is on the left fork of Island Creek, and it's close to where I live. And I have been contacted some time ago by residents asking for a new bridge. Well, we got to look, and there's, Mr. Little, how many houses? You and I went up there and looked at how many houses? Eight houses, 8 taxpayers that live on this road, and the bridge is so unsafe that I'm not sure a fire truck could cross it. Is that a fair statement?
No, that's fair. I don't think it would.
And, you know, we've had a lot of roads with substantially fewer homes that have been incorporated into the county road system. This is 8 homes in an 850-foot section. And it was, we have had a petition that has been attached from a substantial number of individuals who live on Raspberry Lane. And Mr. Little, from your search, this has never been adopted, is that correct?
That is correct.
And what is the condition of the road and
the road itself is in actually great shape. There's not much that would need to be done there. The bridge would be the, I guess if you want to call it that, the high-ticket item for taking this road in, but it is very necessary, and I believe if that's something we should do. I've worked up a general, just an estimate. This estimate is just for materials only. It doesn't take into account for employee costs or anything, but we can build that bridge for around $9,000 in material. So, you know, And for what it's going to serve, I think it would be well worth us to take that road in.
Well, I mean, the people that live there, in my opinion, and I think Commissioner Robertson went up there and looked at it the other day too.
He did.
I mean, this is a really bad situation, because if there was a fire or some kind of emergency, in my opinion, it should have been adopted into the road system long ago.
A long time ago, yes.
All right.
Judge, also, the Postal Service won't cross the bridge either.
Well,
and I wonder if an ambulance, you know, you have to.
And that's, you know, if the Postal Service won't cross it, fire department won't cross it, an ambulance, you're not gonna cross it.
Well, when I went up there with Mr. Little, I was about ready to get out and walk back across it, because there's no wings on the bridge, and it would be very easy for somebody to turn in, or if it was a little bit slick.
When Mr. Robertson and I were up there, we were told the story about this year, one had slid off the bridge.
So, Mr. King, would you please proceed with the first reading for Raspberry Lane?
Yes. Mr. Little, if I may ask to just to make certain we're on the same page, we've listed 850 feet here. Does that go to the end of the road or to the end of the last residence?
Well, now it goes to the last residence. Yeah, not necessarily to the last
property owner.
Well, it goes to the last property owner. Any further than that would be a driveway.
All right, the reason I ask is we've got 8 residents listed, but I noticed on the petition we had 10 groups of people sign the petition. Do you know why that is? I just wondered if there was other houses there. I want to make sure we were addressing them all.
There may be more than 8.
I think some of that, Fabian, went to the left after they crossed the bridge, didn't it?
It could have. Now, that may be.
There's a couple of houses to the left.
To the left there, so.
There's at least 8, maybe more.
Okay, but this does cover what we need to incorporate.
Yes, yeah, it does.
It does. That's what I want to make sure. Okay, first reading. Whereas it has been determined to be in the best interest of the public for the Pike County Fiscal Court to formally accept public roads into the official county road system, and whereas KRS 178.0101B defines a county road as a public road which has been accepted by the fiscal court into the county road system. Whereas where the fiscal court finds that the 30-foot minimum could not be met due to the topography of the road or other extraordinary circumstances, the 30-foot width would not be appropriate. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Pike County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the following road, being public in nature, being is hereby formally and officially accepted into the Pike County road system and shall hereafter be a part of said system. Road number, District 1, road name, Raspberry Lane, length 850 feet, approved by the Fiscal Court. This is the 2nd day of April, 2019.
This matter will be in order for action at the next regular court meeting after it has been published with appropriate notice. The next matter is the approval of Pike County Road Commissioners' recommended road maintenance, and this is the work that has been, a summary of what has been done and a summary of the projects that have been submitted by our commissioners and the judge's office for work in the next 2 weeks. Mr. Little, you are free to proceed.
Okay, this would be the Lot 1, Johns Creek area, work that has been done. They've done work on Open Fork, Spears Branch, Left Fork of Open Fork, Stratton Fork of Mare Creek, Dog Fork, Open Fork, Ollie James of River Branch, Lawson Hill, Walker Branch, and Burning Fork. There's work to be done in Wolf Branch of Harrican, Spring Branch of Harrican, Left Fork of Joe's Creek, Mill Fork of Brushy, Sycamore Mountain, Lower Brushy, Right Fork of Brushy, and Big Branch. Lot 2, they have worked in Sarah Branham Hollow, Kelly Mountain, Blaze Branch, Left Fork of Island Creek, Elsrick's Branch, Lick Branch, Sleepy Hollow, Coon Branch, and Little Creek. They need to do work on Dorton Hill, Suzanne Branch of Long Fork, the low water bridge at Sookish Creek, Phillips Branch, Bear Fork, Lick Fork, and Dorton Creek.
You did not mention, I think we've got the road back open at
Flatwoods.
Flatwoods is open. That's been done too. It's not on here. I don't think.
Correct. Now,
but you all did a lot of work up there, and we appreciate that because that's access to our communication towers and so forth.
And not just us. There's several other entities out there that use that road.
Federal law enforcement and state law enforcement and others.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Correct. excuse me. Well, I can't get the page turned. Okay, Lot 3, which would be the Belcher area. They done work on Cure Hill, Kittle Camp, River Hurricane, Motley Fork, Laurel Fork, Miller's Fork, Upper Camp, Lower Camp, Upper Pompey, Anderson Hollow, Johns Branch, Dick's Fork, Trace Fork, and Big Branch. They need to do work in at the Grapevine Fire Department, Landon Webb, Elliott Justice, Avery Murphy, Cletus Webb, Coleman Road, Plymell Hill Road, and Harless Creek.
And I think that Commissioner Booth had you, I think the work at replacing the drain behind
at the Grapevine Fire Department. Yeah, I was going to explain that. That was
something Commissioner Booth was involved in.
Could probably explain that a little better than I could, or in more detail.
Brian, you want to address that just briefly?
Yeah, what that consists of was there was a lot of water going in behind the fire department causing issues. Water was coming into the fire department. Actually, it was coming out the back door causing some of the tile to come up. They had water running down through their parking lot. And also adjacent to the fire department there, that's where they have a helicopter can land if there's an emergency or something in the area. It had a lot of water in that area. So we put in some drains there to eliminate the water, to keep it off the fire department and also keep it off the landing pad there where the helicopter can land at in case they had any emergency issues, and that took care of all the water issues, or not, maybe not all, but 90% of the water issues probably around the fire department in that area.
Thank you all for getting that done. Appreciate it.
Okay, Lot 4, which will be the Marbone area, they done work on Red Creek, the Railroad Lane, Peyton's Creek, 3C Road, Sloan's Branch, Elkhorn Creek, Oliver Cisco Bridge, Tom's Branch Bridge. They need to do work on at Millard, Greasy Creek. Now, I'll explain that in just a second. They need to do work on Tom's Branch, Rocky Road, Howes Branch, Biggs Branch, Chloe area, and in the Millard area. When they put shoulder work, what he's doing, and the reason he says in the Millard and Greasy Creek area, is he's going around and leveling the shoulder of the road down with the grader. It doesn't take a long time, but it's very useful, and it lets the water off from the road so that the dirt doesn't keep the water on the road. Lot 5, which will be the Phelps area, he's done work on Upper Blackberry, Pickle Bean Hollow, Big Blue Springs, Old House Branch, Smith Branch, Pritchard Fork, Upper Blackberry at Middle Fork, Upper Blackberry, Smith Branch, and then Little Blue Springs. He needs to do work on the left fork of Blackberry, Hurricane of Kemper, Widow's Branch, Smith Lane, Pounding Mill Road, Hurricane of Stopover, Right Fork of Stopover, and Mellon Fork of Stopover. District 6, which would be the Williamson or Stone area, they've done work on Hurricane Hollow, Rock House of Big Creek, Narrows Branch, Pigeon Roost, Tom Trout Road, Broadhead Hollow, Stratton Fork, Smith Bottom Loop, Sharon Heights, Bevins, Beach Hollow, Allison Heights, Barney Hollow, Davis Branch, South Railroad Street, Polly Hollow, Bent Mountain of Rock House, Pipe Yard, Thompson Hollow, Forest Hills, Cape Camp, and Rock House of Bent Mountain. They need to do work in Chestnut Drive, Francis Hill, Color Hollow, Cedar Drive, Church House Hollow, Dix Fork, Road Fork, Coburn Street, and Meat House.
Now, before I ask for authorization, when you say they need to do work, you're saying that will be work, that is the work that is scheduled for the next 2 weeks, is correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. That's the work.
Now, the commissioners have any other projects that they want added for the next 2-week work cycle? Okay. Were they on that list, or they may? Okay. All right. Commissioner Tackett. All right. So just so the folks out there will know, when he says the work that's done, it's a lot of different things. The work that needs to be done is work that will be scheduled for the next 2 weeks. And if you will call your commissioner, any of the 3 commissioners, no matter where you live, or the judge's office, we will see to it that the road department's notified of any problems and that we have it looked at. It will be put on the list. All of these projects have been looked at, the ones that are scheduled. Be patient. Our roads are in bad shape, but they've been in bad shape a long time before this court came in. Part of the problem is because of the freeze-thaw cycle, we have a lot of potholes, not only on county roads, but, you know, we have some state roads that are in horrible shape. We cannot get asphalt until the asphalt plants open back up. Mr. Little, you have, when will they?
They're open now, and I was going to tell you that they can, our ditch lines will kind of cut back a little on those because of trying to get these potholes filled. Most of our crews will be working, doing just pothole patching for tomorrow and Thursdays, given rain for Friday, so we'll probably go back to pulling ditches Friday, but we will start potholing some of these roads tomorrow.
So we've had complaints, but it's going to take time. We only have 6 road crews with about 35 people right now in the road department, 34, 35 people to take care of 1,200 miles of roads. If there are potholes that need to be patched, you can call the judge's office at 432-6247. I would appreciate, a lot of people have been contacting us by Facebook. It's very hard for the members of the court or myself to track complaints, whether it's solid waste or the road department, if they contact you on Facebook, because there's no way to catalog those or index those. We have a formal complaint process that if you will call the judge's office, there is a form generated, a copy is given to myself, the commissioners, the deputy judge, and the road department. And every complaint is tracked. So it allows us to have a system so we know what's been looked at and what's been done, what's not been done. But please, feel free to call. But again, try not to make the complaints on Facebook. And I would encourage people who have complaints about a county service, whether it's solid waste, public works, road department, whatever it may be, before you start complaining on Facebook, give us a chance to make it right, because this court is dedicated to customer service. And we can't fix a problem unless we know about it. And if you put it on Facebook, that doesn't mean any of us will ever see it. If you call the judge's office or the commissioners, I guarantee you it will be addressed. So, Mr. Little, thank you for the update. Is there a motion to approve the proposed work for the Pike County Road Department? Motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Booth. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Tackett. Is there any question or discussion? Mr. Little, you have anything else?
No, other than to say that that complaint system does work very well. Call those numbers. That's the easiest way to get us to you.
All right. Seeing no other question or discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth? Yes. Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item is the treasurer's business. Mr. Stacy, do you have anything for the court? Thank you very much. We'll try to shorten this out. I thought this agenda would be a little shorter tonight, but again, it seemed like it's run over a little bit. And we do appreciate our state senator staying with us. The next matter is we do have some specific personnel issues and litigation, particularly affecting the RCC Big Show matter. Be happy to update the press on that after we've had an opportunity to discuss it in executive session. For that matter, for the issues that we can talk about publicly. And Mr. King, would you please instruct the court on the Kentucky Revised Statute pertaining to entry into executive session?
Yes, we'll need to adjourn as authorized by KRS 61.810, subsection C, regarding to the pending litigation matter you discussed, as well as subsection F to discuss some specific personnel matters.
Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth? Judge Jones?
Yes. We will be in recess. Call the court to order. Mr. Keene. We need a motion to adjourn from executive session. Is there a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Robertson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Booth. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Mr. Maynard, would you please present my personnel recommendations to the court?
Yes, Judge. The following items are up for approval. Excuse me. It is approval to hire John Murphy as a custodian in the AOC building at a 2H rate of pay effective 3/22/19. Approval to move Kenneth Stanley temporarily from a Packer driver to a boom truck operator and cleanup at a 4H rate of pay effective 3/26/19. Approval to move Kevin Witt from Solid Waste Area 1 to the landfill as a dozer operator at a 5H rate of pay effective 4/1/19. Approval to accept Christopher Dotson's resignation effective 3/22/19. Approval to move Lisa Atkins from Solid Waste Area 2 to the Solid Waste Office as a customer service representative at the same rate of pay. Approval to move Pamela Robinson from Solid Waste Area 5 to the Solid Waste Office as a customer service representative at the same rate of pay. Approval to hire Rick Thacker as litter abatement in Pride at a 2A rate of pay effective 3/25/19. Approval to hire Donna Mullins temporarily as a custodian at the AOC building at a 2H rate of pay effective 3/27/19, not to exceed 28 hours a week.
That should be a part-time
Oh,
custodian.
that one part-time? Okay, I'll reread.
Okay. So the last one should approval to hire Charlotte Tackett as a part-time
Part-time.
custodian, not to exceed. Just for the purpose of the public, the custodian, John Murphy, it's being hired at AOC, or at the Justice Center, and also Donna Mullins. Those positions are not paid for by the county, they're reimbursed by the state. Kenneth Stanley is a temporary move from a Packer driver because we don't have a boom truck driver. We are moving Kevin Witt, who's already an employee, to the dozer operator position. Is that a change in pay rate?
It is.
He's moving from a truck driver to a dozer operator, which is a heavy equipment rate of pay, correct?
That is correct.
And we are accepting the resignation of Christopher Dotson. On Lisa Atkins and Pam Robinson, they are customer service representatives, but their title under the current county code or the current personnel is a monitor. And a monitor was a position that was created to go out into the field and make sure that people are signed up on garbage. And so we're basically on those two just clarifying their job titles. The only new hire is Rick Thacker, and he will be working with the jail and litter abatement, taking inmates out to, as part of our initiative to try to clean this county up. Even with these changes, budget year to budget year, looking toward the next budget year, our changes are somewhere savings of about roughly $500,000. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Ballpark?
Ballpark.
So the personnel changes and the things we've done to restructure, we're looking to have savings in the next budget year of about $500,000. Gentlemen, those are my recommendations and my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Robertson. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson?
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the Pike County Department of Supervisors, and we're going to start over. Mr. Bevins, do you have anything? Since you're our trail consultant, do you have anything you'd like to add?
We do have a ride coming up this Saturday. We're going to ride with our folks in West Virginia.
You want to come up here and tell us a little bit more about that? And then I'm going to, in the judge's comments, I'm going to discuss the trail system and some ideas that I have and have been brought to me by the commissioners.
We've got a couple of rides that have been scheduled for a while. One of the things that we've been trying to do is we want to reach out to our neighbors in West Virginia. The Half Hill McCoy Trail System has 50,000 users a year. And this ride is called Taste of the Trails. It will leave from the trail towns of Williamson, Mate 1, Gilbert, and Pigeon Creek. It will meet in Mate 1. We'll ride the afternoon over in Kentucky, and then we'll return back to those lodging places there in West Virginia. They can go to the Pike County Kentucky Trails Facebook page for the details on that. We also have a ride coming up that the Half Hill McCoy Power Sports folks have sponsored called Ride the Ridge. That's the first weekend in May. That's also on the Facebook page. And then the other big event is an event that the Tug Valley Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring. It's called Dirt Days, and that's a joint event between the Williamson and South Williamson area. It'll be similar to, for those that are familiar with Trail Fest, which was one of the big events that Gilbert has in the fall. The folks felt like they wanted to do something that would showcase the Tug Valley and be a spring event. So that'll be coming up April 27th and 28th, the Friday and Saturday are the two big days there. So all of those have been posted up on our Facebook page event. We've had a lot of riders.
What's the Facebook page?
It's Pike County, Kentucky Trail Systems.
All right.
And that's one of 3 that we maintain for basically the public to let them know what's going on with the different events that we do.
All right.
So
thank you very much, and I'll
you.
be addressing that momentarily. We have a special guest, Mr. Steve Dammer, who's in solid waste. I'm just going to ask everybody here, you have anything you'd like to add? All right, Mr. Anderson, you have anything back there? You keep holding people accountable for illegal dumping, okay? Mr. Fan, do you have anything? We have our supervisor from our community services, Ms. Thacker, you have anything? Our finance supervisor, Ms. Vanover, you have anything?
I'm not occupational.
Come on up, please.
Come on, I know we had done the amnesty for the people trying to catch up on the net profit where they were delinquent. Actually, we've had quite a few come in and to catch up. Yesterday, we had 3 come in, pay for all 4 years, getting caught up. And our amnesty ran through yesterday, and I was going to ask if the court would put it to the 15th, that would run in time.
The lawyer that called me from Lexington, did we ever hear back from them?
No.
Okay.
No, they never did. You know, but again, they could possibly fall with us and not let us know that they were the ones that that attorney was representing.
Who was the company that, well, I'll get with you on that. That's confidential. We can't do that in open court. So I would have, based on your recommendations, I would move that we would extend the amnesty period on the penalties for our net profits and occupational tax from April 1st, 2019 until June 1st, 2019 to encourage people to get caught up and to be compliant with their obligations. Would there be a second to that motion?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Booth.
Would this be just previous year, or are we still doing the 18-year?
It would be let me clarify the motion. My motion would be that we extend the amnesty for the penalties only for occupational and net profits for all past years since the inception, which was what, 2015? Last 2 quarters of 2015, correct?
Correct.
Since the inception of the occupational tax, that we would extend the amnesty period on the penalties until June 1st, 2019. And we have a second. Second by Commissioner Booth. Any question or discussion?
No, I just think that amnesty program's working out pretty good.
It really has.
And we may look at something like that on the solid waste delinquents too, and that's something that there's a lot of, we've done a tremendous amount of work, and I'll address that in a minute, but no question or discussion, correct? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Anything, any other business before the court?
No, I think that's it.
Mr. Ratliff, would you have anything? Mr. Hensley? Supervisor Williamson, anything? Mr. Morley? Mr. Tackett? Mr. Little? Mr. Kaiser, we have a presentation that you were supposed to do, but we're going to do that next court meeting. And that'll give us time to get some folks from the city of Pikeville. I think it's a project that the people on the Leviza Fork and Pike County, in the areas we've had a lot of flooding in the past, will be interested in. It's a program that could bring a lot of money, is that a fair statement, to the county, and have a substantial economic impact. We're going to ask the city to give us some cooperation, and Coal Run as well. And we'd like for you to contact and have a representative at the next court meeting, if at all possible. And I think you will be at the next court meeting, is that correct? We've got some people that won't be there for training and vacation. We're still going to do the court meeting on the 16th. I know it'll be the day after tax day, but hopefully it won't be as bad as the 15th for a lot of people. So,
Both places, Judge?
both places, we'd like, Pikeville and Coal Run, yes. So, Mr. Kaiser, you have anything else? All right.
Judge, there is one item that needs to be read off that wasn't read off when we passed the personnel.
Okay.
It is approval to hire Charlotte Tackett part-time as a custodian at the courthouse at a 2H rate of pay effective 3/28/19.
I think I read that out. You did read that. And I think
We did not put there wasn't an effective date.
I'm sorry. What was the effective date?
3/28/19.
All right. Let's back up then. I would move to hire Charlotte Tackett as a part-time custodian at the courthouse at a 2H rate of pay effective 3/28/19. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tackett. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tackett,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Mr. Stacy, you have anything else? All right. Mr. Maynard, anything else? All right. Next matter is the Assistant County Attorney's comments. Mr. King, would you like to just briefly update them on the RCC Big Show litigation?
With regards to that, Judge, we did get service on RCC Big Show, and although we do not have an answer yet, Attorney Larry Webster from here in town did file a motion for extension of time to file an answer on RCC's behalf. The hearing has not been had yet, but he's asked for 20 days from the hearing, so we should have that in a couple weeks.
And then you and I need to get together and draft some discovery to send to that company and have it ready to file.
Some interrogatories and requests for admissions both.
Yeah, request for admissions, request for production, and other documents to have ready shortly after we receive an answer.
We'll do that.
Any other business, Mr. King?
No other business.
All right. We have no one signed up for public comment. Mr. Hickman, do you have any comments?
I do not.
I want to thank you for covering for me last week when I was out with my family, and appreciate your hard work on a lot of issues that we're going to have coming before the court. We now have the Pike County Commissioner's comments. I'll start with District 1 Commissioner Ronnie Robertson. Mr. Robertson.
I just want to thank everybody in the court. I want to thank Fabian, Doug, Paul, see who else I got back. I got Larry back there in the landfill. I want to say something about that landfill. I come down off that mountain the other day, and that landfill looked pretty to be a garbage dump. You've done one heck of a job, Larry. I want to commend you on that. And Chuck, you're doing a good job in solid waste too. I just hope the citizens of this county just gives us a little time to get this court in order like they've never seen before. We're going to make changes to this county, and it's going to be for the good of this county. And I just want to thank everybody that helps us do that, and it's you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Tackett.
Kind of like Ronnie said, I just want to thank everybody and hope that the county will give us some more time to do some good changes in the county. I want to thank the workers. I mean, without your workers, you don't have a leg to stand on, and so far, you know, I'm tickled to death the way everybody's coming around, and it's all new for everybody, you know. I think, Fabian, what you mentioned a while ago about getting the road in the Flat Woods open, I think we brought Ralph over to help us on that, running the dozer, didn't we? I want to thank him, you know. And Robbie Ratliff for the, but, you know, just, I like the way things are, they're turning around looking, so, but thank you all. And
Commissioner Booth.
Yeah, I'd like to also thank everybody that's here, all of you. I think our roads are really coming along really well. I've had a lot of comments of people bragging on how well their roads are getting improved and seeing all the road work that's been done. I like to thank Paul and his crew over at the Big Creek Fire Department. I've been over there a couple times looking at that roof. That's really coming along real well. Everybody over there seems to be real satisfied. And I'm like Ronnie, the landfill has really, I can really see a difference over there. I told Reggie the other day when I stepped out of the truck, it was just amazing the difference it was now compared to it was when we first took office. You're doing a good job over there, Larry. I appreciate it.
And Judge, I didn't thank the maintenance garage over there too. And I went over there the other day, and that's the least vehicles I've seen in that garage waiting to be worked on for a while. So they're doing a good job too.
Well, we have to save money there, and I guess that brings me to the judge's comments. Each one of the commissioners have been working really hard as part of the committee system, trying to oversee various things, whether it's the road garage, the road system, or the solid waste that Commissioner Booth oversees. And we've made a lot of changes in county government in a short period of time. And we're trying to actually bring transparency to the county and let people know. Some people, I heard a complaint that, you know, just go ahead and quit talking about it and just vote on it. Well, I'm not going to do that. We're going to let the people know what business we're doing here. And, you know, we asked Pike TV to broadcast this on Facebook, and they did that because we want people to understand it. We've invited the press in, and it's important that the people know what we're doing. I want to address just a few issues. First of all, a lot of people in this county are interested in a trail system. And when I was in the state Senate, money was appropriated, given to the court, and it was never done. So what my proposal will be at the next court meeting is that we request a drawdown of $100,000 from our single county coal severance tax for the purpose of hiring an experienced engineering firm to help us map out a trail system, somebody, a consultant, somebody that's got the experience. We need a map that we could have Mr. Bevins work with these folks, but it's going to be hard for one person. We've got Mr. Bevins working on it on behalf of the court, but one person can't do this. We need a map of proposed routes, and that's something that we need to have someone with some engineering experience do, in my estimation. Because, you know, it only takes one landowner to block a proposed trail route. You know, you can have a map, you can go to 3 landowners, they agree to it, you go to the 4th one, they say, I'm not giving you a lease. That trail's that part, you know, you have to have different routes to try to come up with. If the legislature's in agreement, I think there is an opportunity for adventure tourism in this county, but we have limited resources, and a lot of money and time has been wasted. Even when the legislature, when I was there, appropriated money for the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System, you know, money was taken to build parks at the Hatfield-McCoy Park at Buskirk and call it a trailhead, even though we have no trail system. To me, that was putting the cart before the horse. We're going to try to fix that. If we can get approval to draw down the money, then we need to interview some folks to work on that issue before we would make any motion or make any effort to hire someone. It needs to be someone or an entity that has experience putting a trail system together. We're way behind West Virginia. And as Mr. Bevins said, there's 50,000 people or so a year on the Hatfield-McCoy Trail System. You know, if we could bring some of that over into eastern Kentucky, that would be a tremendous benefit to our county. But we're, again, way behind with limited resources. At some point in the next couple of months when we have time, and this may all take place after we pass the next budget, I have to submit a budget to the court by May 1. And to me, getting a budget in place that is financially responsible and that will meet the needs of the people of this county for the next year is the most important issue facing us. But once that's done, we'll have some breathing room, I hope, to be able to work on the trail system. The other issue is we are working on insurance procurement. We're asking for different quotes from different insurance providers. Just so folks will understand, it's not like we can go out to 20 different insurance companies because you only have a couple health insurance companies and there's only certain agents. So if you go on your health insurance, you may go to 3 different agents or 5 different agents, but it's going to end up on the same underwriter's desk. Workers' comp's the same thing. KEMI is basically the other option besides CAECO. Is there anyone else? Mr. Maynard, you've looked at that?
We do have another one that's going to be providing numbers. They will not have their numbers ready until April 8th.
Okay. So we're trying to get the best coverage that we can for the county at the best price. And that is something that does not have to be bid, but we are shopping it around. That's not been done. I've not necessarily been happy with the way that CAECO, as some of the members of the press may know, I've not necessarily been happy with some of the things they were doing. They were insuring buildings that didn't exist and so forth. But we are giving them an opportunity and others on our insurance coverage. We're doing what we can to save money, but it does look like it will go up this year. We will look at the solid waste ordinance that I mentioned earlier to try to increase the penalties for illegal dumping and littering. One of the issues that we need to look at with our solid waste program is an amnesty program that would allow people with substantially past due accounts to come in and get caught up. One of the things that we have discovered with the people who have been cited for illegal dumping is that most of them have delinquent garbage bills, and I think Mr. Anderson could attest to that. Another issue that is in the works right now is I have Mr. Morley working to do a rerouting of all of the solid waste routes. Geosyntec is also working on that. Hopefully, by at least no later than July 1st, we will be going to 4-day pickup. We have garbage trucks that are finishing their routes at noon or 1 o'clock in the day. We think there are substantial inefficiencies in the solid waste system that we can save money. A lot of people have complained because if their pickup day is Monday and Labor Day or Memorial Day or other holidays that fall on Monday, they lose a pickup. So what our plan is if we would have Monday as a maintenance day for our equipment. It would help improve maintenance. It would take 1 day a week. Our equipment wouldn't be on the road. We think there will be a cost savings there. If the routes are more efficient, we think we will need less equipment and less drivers. Again, that will save money for the ratepayers. One of the issues that we're looking at, though, is if we have a holiday on a Wednesday, for instance, and your Wednesday is your pickup day, then your trash will be picked up on Monday, and the solid waste employees, like Mr. Dammer, will be home on that holiday with their family. They would be paid for that day, but they would also get their holiday pay. So that way, our county employees would be able to spend the holidays with their families, and the trash would be picked up, and our customers wouldn't lose a day. We had a very good meeting on Saturday to try to improve customer service. We are also on Monday, I believe it is, or Tuesday, Mr. Ratliff is going over to the Elk Run Golf Course with a representative from the University of Kentucky Agriculture Extension Office. I think they're coming actually from Lexington. Is that right, Vince?
Lexington, they are
Come on up, yeah.
Yes, they are a turf and grass specialist that's actually coming in from Lexington to meet with us.
And they're doing it free. The extension office called and offered that service. As I said in the paper the other day, I think the members of the court are all in agreement that we're not going to spend any money on that golf course at this time. We think we can get some money from FEMA, but if we can't find a low-cost way to restore the greens, right, it's doubtful that the course will be able to reopen. Hopefully, the UK turf expert will be able to help us, and we can find a low-cost solution to get the course open. Just so the public understands, we have, the county, I say we, the county has made a massive investment in that golf course over the years. And regardless of whether it opens or not, the county is on the hook for lease payments in excess of $40,000 for many years to come. One of the leases still has 70 years on it. On Tuesday, I have a meeting with Colonel Jason Evers, who is the Corps Commander at the Army Corps of Engineers in the Huntington Division. He's coming up to talk to us about a program that deals with the 202 issue that Mr. Kaiser will brief the court on at the next meeting. I'm going to discuss with him to look into whether it is feasible to build a berm to protect the front nine at Elk Run Golf Course where there's no berm, and to raise the existing berm, because it is simply a waste of taxpayer money to keep having to pay to repair damage to the golf course year after year after year. And with the fact that the FEMA has already put money into the golf course, we'll end up paying more money for damage in the most recent flooding. I think the federal government should have some incentive to try to want to prevent future flood events at that site. I hope that this has been informative. I'm going to try to use the judge's comments as sort of a roadmap to give people an idea of what to expect in the weeks to come. And I appreciate everyone's patience for being here. Appreciate all the work of the men and women of the fiscal court. I do think that our county workforce is committed to moving the county forward. If the workers are not doing their job, then they'll be held accountable. But our goal is to provide the best customer service to the taxpayers and ratepayers of the county. That concludes my remarks, and the next item would be the benediction. Russ, since you didn't, and you stay with us, I'll let you do the benediction if you don't care, and then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Father, we thank you again for the time we've had this evening, that we have hopefully done all these things that in a way that's glorified you and in a way that's pleasing to you. Father, we just ask that you lead us and guide us as we go forward, protect the men and women who work for this county and the people of this county, and help these men and women make the right decisions, the decisions that are pleasing to you as they go forward. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tackett. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Robertson. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Robertson? Yes. Commissioner Tackett?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth? Yes. Judge Jones?
Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all.